Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for attending the Medical Devices Regulations webinar. Today's topic is medical device registration, and in this webinar, I will give an overview of the process as well as explaining the general rules, required documents, while also mentioning the new changes and updates as they come along. To start off, what is medical device registration? Medical device registration is basically the process of ensuring the compliance of the medical device quality and safety with international standards. Ensuring the safety and quality to international standards is done by setting requirements that are adapted from worldwide recognized regulatory authorities, customized to fit with the size of the Kingdom of Bahrain market. Why register medical devices? As per resolution number 48 of 2020 on medical devices and products, it is not permissible to manufacture or introduce any medical device and product to the kingdom or put it in its market or use it, except after registering with the authority and obtaining written permission to market from authority. However, since only a small percentage of the medical devices in Bahrain are registered at the moment, and in order to give the authorized representatives time to register their devices, this was not implemented directly, and a circular was circulated that it is mandatory to register all medical devices within the coming 5 years, meaning that from February 2026, no medical device will be allowed to enter Bahrain market if it's not registered in NHRA. Registration also facilitates the importation process, since authorized representatives will need to fulfill the requirements one time only and then use their registration license to minimize the number of required documents needed to obtain the importation approval in OFOC system. Registration enhances the level of traceability of devices in the kingdom and enables the end user to easily contact the local authorized representatives, since all registered medical devices will be published on NHRA website along with their authorized representative. All healthcare facilities will be instructed to purchase only registered medical devices to ensure the patient safety. So as a result of that, registered medical devices will have an advantage over devices that are not yet to be registered. Medical devices registration general rules. Only registered authorized representative can apply for medical device registration. All medical devices must be registered regardless of its risk classification. Accessories and spare parts cannot be registered. Registration is not linked to HS codes being regulated by NHRA or not. So for example, most class 1 devices HS codes does not fall under NHRA regulation and importation. However, they should be registered. Please keep in mind that NHRA's priority and registration at the moment is medium and high risk medical devices. So we would highly recommend all authorized representatives to also prioritize registering the medium and high risk medical devices before the low risk ones. Registration fees is now implemented. Ms. Saida and Engineer Nada will give more details regarding this point. Form submitted must be electronically filled, not filled by hand. Should be searchable and not printed or scanned. All required official documents should be signed and stamped by the user. Electronic signature is accepted. Some applicants face some difficulties in submitting a signed and stamped application form, since they don't have an electronic signature or stamp. So they sign it physically and then scan it. As a result, we have introduced an alternative solution where, in case the electronic signature is not feasible, the applicant can provide an official letter signed and stamped clearly stating the date of application and that the information provided is genuine and not falsified. For example, this letter can state that the application submitted on 26 July 2021 is genuine and not falsified. And this letter can be submitted as non-searchable document. And that way they can sign it and include the stamp physically. Timeline of registration file review is 40 to 80 working days, which is 8 to 16 weeks maximum. Previously, it was 8 weeks, but since some applicants faced some issues with the manufacturers of the medical devices regarding the timeline, it was decided to change it to 8 to 16 weeks as maximum. There is also a new general rule. In order to avoid importation obstacles while renewing the registration license, expired medical device registration licenses can be used for up to 3 months after expiry date, given that a letter issued by the notified body to the legal manufacturer stating that the legal manufacturer has applied for renewal and that the only remaining step is to issue the renewed certificate is provided. Before applying for importation, applicants must submit an application by email with the required documents to medical_devices@nhra.ph to obtain medical device registration license grace period approval. For this type of application, there is no need for an appointment to be booked. Applicants can send through email directly. Before starting to register medical devices, authorized representatives need to go through the listing process first, as only listed medical devices can be applied for medical device registration. Listing is basically to list all medical devices that have been imported, as well as the ones that are expected to be imported in the future. A circular, which is this one on the right, was sent on 19th of March 2018 regarding listing. Can also be found on our website. And why do NHRA require listing? We needed to forecast the number of medical devices needed to be registered in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Listing is done by filling. The authorized representative needs to fill the medical device registration listing form available on our website and send it through email to NHRA email, which is medical_devices@nhra.ph. A common misunderstanding is to submit the listing with the medical device registration application, which is wrong, as it should be done before and should contain all the medical devices that the authorized representative is importing, not just the devices that are included in the application. For example, if you are importing 1,000 different medical devices, the listing should contain all of them in one list, and you only have to submit them once. However, once there are more devices added, then only you need to submit to NHRA the new devices only. Moving on to the required documents and requirements. The first one is submitting the application form. The application form should be filled by the authorized representative, who is the applicant, and all fields should be filled. There are some fields that are conditional, such as the shelf life and the date of market entry. In case the medical device, for example, has no shelf life, or the device is yet to enter Bahrain market, should be stated on the form. So no field should be left blank. Secondly is the technical details. What is meant by the technical details is the user manual or the service manual or the catalog. These documents provide us with information regarding the device, such as its description, intended use, technical specifications, etc. It is also important for bundling application to determine whether the devices fall and fulfill the requirements of the bundling groups. The third requirement is the artwork. Artwork is the outer package of the product, as you can see from the picture, with all sides visible, and it contains the label. It should, for the very least, include the device name, legal manufacturer with full address. Legal manufacturer will be the one written next to the symbol of the legal manufacturer. This is the symbol. I don't know if it's clear or it's very small, but usually what will be written on the back of the artwork is the legal manufacturer and its full address. Also, the artwork should include the unique device identification code or the reference number. There needs to be a unique code or number that identifies the medical devices. In some cases, mostly, for example, creams, the manufacturer will not include any reference number, but the name will be very descriptive. We take that case by case. So NHRA approval must be taken by email before submitting the application in that case to avoid any rejections. An additional element has been added to this point where, for example, for single and IVD bundling applications with more than 3 medical devices, a minimum of 3 artworks should be submitted and not the artwork for all medical devices. For family bundling cases where providing all medical device artworks is not feasible, applicants can contact NHRA through email to look into this. Number 4 is the authorization letter. It is an official letter issued by the legal manufacturer authorizing the applicant, who is the authorized representative, to register, import, and sell the medical device in the Kingdom of Bahrain. So what do we mean by official letters, and what do NHRA require in official letters? Official letters, they need to be issued by the required issuer, which in the authorization letter case, and actually in most cases is the legal manufacturer. In some cases, there are other entities such as the regional office or the regional distributor involved, and they will be responsible for our region. So they will issue the authorization letter. In that case, you can provide a letter from the legal manufacturer authorizing the other involved entity to issue letters for the device it owns, and then the authorization letter will be accepted even if it is issued by the regional office. Full addresses of all entities included in the official letter. Reference to the medical devices being applied for registration should be also included in the official letter. This can be done by including the scope or by including the exact name and model of the medical devices. Signature and stamp of the issuer should be also included. Electronic signature is accepted, as we already mentioned. And the official letter should be valid. This is only if applicable. Since we cannot determine who is the physical manufacturer from the artwork, it is required to provide an official letter issued by the legal manufacturer mentioning the device or the device's name and model, as well as mentioning their physical manufacturer and the regional authorized distributor of application. Again, all requirements of official letters apply to this requirement as well. The next requirement is the instruction for use that are usually found in the leaflet or manual of the medical device. Instructions for use should be instructions typically in the sense of points or steps explaining how to use the medical device, such as the picture shown. Moving on to the 7th requirement, which is the list of marketed countries. It is an official letter or declaration issued by the legal manufacturer stating the countries that the medical device is marketed in. Make sure that the devices the letter is referring to are written along with their reference number. If there is a large number of countries that the devices are marketed in, not all of them needs to be included in the letter. Including the reference countries only would be enough. The 8th requirement is the field safety notice record letter. What is meant by field safety notice are the adverse events and recalls. Also, for this requirement, an official letter issued by the legal manufacturer needs to be provided, and it should list the devices and their recalls worldwide in the past 5 years, as well as the adverse events affecting Bahrain market only in the past 5 years. This requirement has been updated, as previously it was required to provide the field safety notice record affecting Bahrain market only. But now for recalls, it is required to provide for worldwide markets. In the event that there are no recalls and adverse events on the medical device, an official letter issued by the legal manufacturer needs to be provided and it should declare that clearly. If there are recalls, the most recent audit report issued by a notified body regarding the recall needs to be provided. From the audit report, NHRA will review the corrective action done by the manufacturer and notified bodies comments upon taking our decision. Then we have got the list of end users. This is just an official letter that should be issued by the authorized representative, which in this case is the applicant, and should mention the current end users of the medical device. If the medical device is yet to be imported to the kingdom, then we can pass this requirement. The 11th requirement is the quality management system certificate, which should be issued to the physical manufacturer. This certificate proves that the physical manufacturer quality management system is as per international standards for medical devices, which is the ISO 13485 standard. Should be issued by an IAF accredited notified body. Its scope should cover the applied medical device. It should be valid. Previously, for low-risk medical devices applications where the CE is not required, the quality management system certificate was required to be for at least 1 year, but now we have cancelled this. So it just needs to be valid in all cases. Number 12 is the quality assurance certificate. This certificate is needed to certify that the medical device quality and safety is in conformity with medical devices international standards, in which NHRA accepts the CE directive for medical devices. This certificate needs to be issued to the legal manufacturer. It should be issued by an ANDO accredited notified body. Its scope should cover the applied medical device. And previously, this certificate was required to have a validity of at least 1 year. However, this also has been cancelled in order to facilitate the process, as it was considered an obstacle for applicants to apply and register their devices. This certificate can be replaced by the American FDA certificate to foreign government, and for Class 1 non-sterile medical devices, a declaration of conformity can be submitted in place of the quality assurance certificate. A declaration of conformity is an official declaration from the legal manufacturer in which it states that the medical device is in compliance with the CE directive and standards. Next is the EC design examination, which is only required for high-risk medical devices, which are Class 3 and IVD Class D. Similar to the quality assurance certificate, should be issued to the legal manufacturer with the same address. Should be as per the CE medical device directive. Should be issued by an ANDO accredited notified body. Medical device name and model should match the applied medical devices. Previously, this certificate was required to have also a validity of 1 year, and it's been cancelled. Also previously, for Class 2B medical devices, the CE design examination or an audit report for the manufacturing site regarding the device was required to be provided. However, this is no longer required. Before submitting quality management system certificate, the quality assurance certificate or the EC design examination certificate, the applicant needs to make sure that these certificates are valid because notified bodies perform periodic audits to the manufacturer. So it is possible that these certificates get cancelled before their actual expiry date. To do verification, there are 2 ways. Online through the website of the notified body, and you can find most of the verification links of the notified bodies on NHRA website. The second way is by sending an email to the notified body with the medical device details. and the certificate details. NHRA email should be in the mailing loop. If NHRA was not in the mailing loop, the verification email received from the notified body should be sent as an attachment only to NHRA and not forward. Requirement number 15 is the free sale certificate. It should be issued by the competent or the regulatory authority in the country of origin or one of the reference countries. And it is, as the name suggests, that is the ability to sell the product in the country. And it means as well that the product meets the regulation and requirements set in that country. The medical device and model should declaration or official letter issued by the legal manufacturer that includes the risk classification and the GMDN code of the device. Of course, if the declaration of conformity is provided and it contains the GMDN and risk classification, then it will fulfill this requirement. If the medical device contains animal tissues or medicines, an official letter issued by the legal manufacturer stating that the product is free from porcine derivatives is required. This requirement is not applicable for in vitro diagnostic medical devices since they have no contact with the patient. In some cases, NHRA might require the applicant to fulfill the classification criteria issued by NHRA Medical Devices Regulations Department, depending on the applied product. So at the time of review, if we think that needs classification, the applicant will be informed to apply for classification to make sure that the product is in fact a medical device. The final requirement is actually a new requirement where the applicant needs to provide a screen capture of the listing email or the email itself as part of the application required documents. As part of the updates and the guideline, there are also some new sections or topics addressed that were not covered before in the previous guideline. So the first topic is the software as a medical device registration. Software as a medical device is defined as a software intended to be used for one or more medical purposes that perform these purposes without being part of a hardware medical device. So what does that basically mean is that a software with a medical purpose that operates on a general purpose device or platform is a software as a medical device. General purpose platform and device could be, for example, iOS on an iPhone. So having a software on that device for medical purpose is a software as a medical device. Whereas the software required by a hardware medical device to perform the hardware's medical device intended use is not considered a software as a medical device. Of course, we have the classification process that you can apply for in case you have any doubts regarding whether the software is regarded as a medical device or not. If the software is classified as a medical device, then it must be registered in NHRA with the same requirements of medical device registration mentioned before. Another section added and another topic addressed in the soon-to-be published guideline is research use only products. What we mean here are the instruments and apparatus, including software, which are intended to be used for research purposes without any medical purpose, which means not for clinical use, not for diagnosis or treatment, and only for research use. These devices or these products are not classified as a medical device, and therefore they are not required to be registered in NHRA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Abdel Latif. I was trying to put some list of questions, But before we go to the questions, Engineer Ms. Saida, if you're ready, we can move to the second part of today's presentation. And I would like to encourage everybody else to raise questions in the Q&A. So everybody else will get the most out of your questions. Ms. Saida, whenever you're ready.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to NHRA Medical Device Regulation. Today I will talk about medical device registration, which contains who and how can you apply for a medical device, process of medical device registration, how many devices you can submit in one application, the bundling method, variation and renewal process, medical device registration cases, guidelines and form in NHRA website. Who can apply for a medical device? Only the one registered in NHRA as authorized representative can apply for a medical device registration. The process of medical device registration, AAR, first of all, can read carefully the guideline and prepare all the required documents. Second, book appointment through NHRA Microsoft Booking. Submit all the required documents at the time of the appointment through medical_devices at nhra.ph. A notice to pay will be issued. After the payment done, NHRA will review the documents to make sure fulfill the requirements and quality document verification. If it is not, the application will return back to the applicant to provide the missing document within 3 months and 3 submission. If the missing document is not provided, the application will consider rejected. For applying again, you should apply a new application with a new field. If the missing document is provided and the application was fully of the requirement, a notice to pay will be issued. After the payment, the license will be issued. The appeal. If the application returned back to the applicant, he can provide the missing document within 5 working days without taking an appointment. For fast track, you can communicate with Midas Bureau for fast track communication and delivery of service for medical device registration. You can go for their website and take the details. This is medical device registration form. You can fill the blanks and you can choose for renewal, new registration and variation. Make sure to use the updated form and this table and fill it with all medical device name and models. Bundling methods. To submit more than one device in one application, it's divided to 5 categories. It have to be from these 5 groups. 1, single medical device. 2, medical device family. 3, medical device system. 4, medical device procedure bag. 5, IVD. For single medical device, they have different model, different color, different sizes. It doesn't matter, but it have to be from the same legal manufacturer, same intended use, same risk class, same brand name. For medical device family, it's a group of single medical devices made also from the same manufacturer, same common intended use, and same risk classification. The only difference is the features. For medical device system, when we say system, it contains more than one medical device. such as endoscopy. It contains endoscopy camera, monitors, scopes, surgical tools. For medical device procedure bag, it's a collection of 2 or more medical devices estimated together to perform certain procedure as one package by the same manufacturer. IVD, registering IVD can be bundled and it have to be from the same legal manufacturer and same risk classification and same intended use. As you can see, there is a flow chart that simplify the process. And this flow chart, it simplifies the process of all bundling medical device registration. You can find it in our guideline in NHRA website. Medical device registration license variation. There is 2 kinds of variation: minor variation, major variation. The minor variation is any modification that does not affect the safety or performance of medical device, such as changing the artwork or the label. For major variation is any modification that does affect safety or performance of medical device, for example, changing the legal manufacturer or the physical. Please note that for major variation, all required documents for a new application should be provided. The requirement for minor variation is letter of justification from the legal manufacturer regarding the variation, with the statement that there is no changes affect the safety and quality of medical device. Updates and varied version of the document, such as the artwork. If it is changed, we need the updated one. Based on the variation, other requirements may be requested. This is the part in the application form which you should fill with the license and type of variation. For medical device registration license renewal, the requirement is an official letter issued from the legal manufacturer stating whether there are no changes or updates done for the medical device. Second, all documents required in Section 5, which is in the application form and the guideline, should be submitted and with update details such expiry certificates. There will be fees for issuing the license for renewal, and same form will be used for application and renewal and variation, as I said before. Here the part for renewal, and you can write the license number. Medical device registration cases. We have many cases as daily registering medical devices, such as taking appointment for someone is not registered an AR. This is an example for a letter, official letter issued from the legal manufacturer stating whether there are no changes, updates done to the medical device, which we needed in renewal. And also in renewal process, we need a letter from the legal manufacturer stating that there is no recalls recording affecting Bahrain market is required. For variation, minor variation, letter of justification from the legal manufacturer regarding the variation with the statement that their changes does not affect the safety and quality of the medical device. Here we have example for a letter that states the artwork is changed. For major variation, any changes for the legal or the physical manufacturer We need a letter, and also we need all the required documents for new application. Some cases, some ARs forget to stamp the form or sign it or other official letters. And sending, sometimes they send the documents in links that doesn't work with us. Taking more than one appointment at the same time is not okay. You have to finish your application, and after that you can book another appointment. Medical device registration useful links, such as booking an appointment. You can find it in our website, nhra.ph. Also, in medical device page, medical device registration form and medical device listing form, you can find it in our website. Also the guideline, you can find it, and also you can find a new guideline for your comments. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Saida. And thank you, Engineer Abdulatif also. The Q&A is very active. There are a lot of questions. I tried to filter some of them. Now we can move to the Q&A, and I think we have enough time to answer all of them, inshallah, and maybe if we have chance, we will have some live questions. So I'll start first with the timeline for registering review. How much does it take if they submit through MDR as per our regulation? I think, Ms. Saidi, you've already mentioned this in your presentation.
Yes, as I said, MDR is fast track. You can contact them. It would be easy for us to contact with them, and it would be fast track.
Yes, so yes, but as per the regulation, it should be from 2 weeks. I think Engineer Abdulatif also, is it? We can't hear you. No, the mic is not opened. Okay, maybe you're facing a difficulty with your mic. Please try and speak out. Whenever we can hear you, I'll let you know. We can't hear you yet. We'll move to the second question. And I will try to just see the questions related to Ms. Saida. Now, Ms. Saidi, you've talked about IVD.
Hello?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
regarding MDR, for the fast track, it will be half the timeline, so from 4 weeks to 8 weeks, but this is the maximum actually.
But normally it takes like 2 weeks maximum, right? Normally.
Yes, from the time that we receive the application, it will be around 2 weeks, but official timeline is 4 to 8 weeks.
Thank you very much. If there is a statement signed by a broad legal manufacturer, how long is such document valid? Do NHRA have restrictions on the validity of the documents?
No, actually the issuer will be the one who decides. It will be written on the letter itself.
So if it's expired, will you approve it? It should be valid, that's it. For how long you don't look into them.
Yes.
Okay. If there is a recall, then the audit report of the device is required, or ISO or EC audit report?
The audit report required is the one that is regarding the recall itself. Usually when there is a recall, there will be an audit. So we need that audit report.
Yes, but just to clarify, recalled medical devices are not to be registered, but let's say there is a recall for a specific serial numbers of that device, then what Engineer Abdulatif actually must be implemented. And should the letter for the recall mention the countries?
For the recalls, yes.
Yeah.
So that we know, for example, if it's in Bahrain or in other countries.
Yes, that's the purpose of the document itself. For ISO certificate, is it accepted to list physical manufacturer as a sub-manufacturer under one ISO for legal manufacturer?
Can you repeat the question,
It's
please?
a bit tricky. So what I understood is that if the legal manufacturer have an ISO certificate, do NHRA accept the name of the physical manufacturer being mentioned under the sub-manufacturing in that document itself?
Yes. We do.
Currently, yes.
Yes.
Can you please give an example of a of a software that does not require registration?
Any software, for example, any medical device that has a software used with it will not need to be registered.
Because it is part of the main device registration.
Yes.
Yes. And I think you've mentioned that if they have any doubts, they can always communicate classification team to give them the most appropriate class. Now, there is one information, I'm just going to correct it for everybody. Yes, there is an update on the registration guideline, which today's event is all about. Engineer Abdulatif highlighted all the updates. There is no need to hold files to prepare anything, because what we have stated is that the updates and the registration will be actually simplifying and eliminating some of the requirements. It's not like the previous update that we had in August last year. So you can submit your files because the changes are very minimal. We have received information, I'm sorry, I just answered this. The slides mention that the full quality assurance certificate is required, but it is not applicable for Annexure 3 General IVD. So I think they're talking about General IVD. Do they need to provide a full quality assurance certificate?
No, they don't need, but they need to provide the declaration of conformity.
Yes, so I think also Ms. Saida highlighted this. If, for example, the medical device certificate was issued to one authorized representative, and then it was changed to another representative, can you take us through the steps of this variation? Changing the agency.
Yeah. Do I answer?
Yes, any one of you. It's okay. You are Ms. Saida.
Yeah. If you change the agency, you mean, for example, in Bahrain, that the agency is changed, you need to provide an authorization letter first from the legal manufacturer that you are now the authorized representative, and then an official letter from the previous agency that the data and information regarding the medical devices should be transferred to the new agency.
Thank you very much. Ms. Saida, for listing medical devices, do they need to provide all the medical devices distributed already, including the new device to be procured?
Only the update one. In the listing, they should update us between time to time.
Yeah, but if they did not submit at all, should they submit the distributed one also?
Yes.
Yes. Engineer Abdulatif, for Class 2B items, do you still require an audit report?
No, for Class 2B, we don't require audit report. Of course, for the recalls, this is a different story, but for the one they are
no longer
yes,
one of the requirements. Okay. we have one product, but parts are made from different countries. In this case, how can we bundle the different items? For example, legal manufacturer from Australia and physical manufacturer from China under same legal manufacturer. So maybe I think the bundling method is not clear to them. Which one of you want to answer this?
Yeah, if there are more than one physical manufacturer, they can actually include it in a bundle. But it depends on the medical devices, which bundling group they need to choose.
Yes, since it's not with the legal manufacturer. So you don't need to separate them if they're with different physical manufacturer, but when the difference is with the legal manufacturer, then it cannot be bundled together.
Exactly.
Okay. I think we've answered the time frame through MedSpero, so please try to pay attention to the answers, so we at least can have the questions variation, like to have more than one topic. Now, let me just take a quick break until we filter the questions and see if there is some hands raised. Yes, Mr. Youssef, you can unmute your mic now and ask questions.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon to everybody, ma'am. Thank you very much for the presentation. I have just one small question because one of the point was not very well understood by myself. The point where Engineer mentioned that if the representative is getting problem for getting signature, sign and stamp, the portion of the sign and stamp, not possible from the principal company, they can have a letter instead from the legal manufacturer mentioning that all the documents in the dossier are like not fake, produced from their side. So am I understanding, my understanding is correct? Please confirm that if any documents is missing sign and stamp because of any reason, I can submit those documents having a cover letter from the legal manufacturer during my registration process.
Yes, this is just an alternative. So
Okay.
yeah. So if you don't have the electronic signature, or if you can't submit this document in a searchable form, then you need to submit this alternative document.
Thank you. That's all. Thank you very much. And one more thing, engineer, that you told me that, see, the software are two types. One is a medical device you can register, one cannot be. I can very well understand that software, if it is inbuilt within a medical device, doesn't need a registration. But what could be the example of a software which can be registered as a medical device? On the other hand, I'm asking, any example?
Yeah. As I told you, that, for example, for any general purpose device, for example, like a mobile phone, sometimes, for example, there is an application that lets you, for example, open the MRI imaging. So, for example, this software would be, it needs to be registered as it is software as a medical device.
All there are systems like software, hospital information system, HIS system. They are independent system without any medical devices. So those type of software should come as a medical device. Am I right to understand, sir?
Yes, if they are used with general purpose devices, yes. But actually, we need to make sure of it.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Youssef, for your valuable questions. There are some repetitive questions, so if you allow me, Engineer and Saida, I will just highlight some of them that we've already answered. If an applicant wants to submit a file, they're allowed to book one appointment in a month, but with MedSpero, you can submit as per your agreement with them. There is no limitation as far as we know, but you can always communicate with them and see the limitation. The updates in the regulation was highlighted in Engineer Abdul Latif PowerPoint. The presentation will be available on our website for you to view later on. And now I think we can go back to the questions. Ms. Saida, they are requesting for some slides, so maybe I'll just let you know what are those slides for you to prepare to open it again. I'm not sure if it's Ms. Saida or Engineer Abdul Latif. May you please repeat quickly the part of if the legal manufacturer is facing issue with stamping letters?
Yes, that was my...
Okay, so take your time just viewing this slide, and I will go through some of the questions. Can you please explain regarding required document for applying for 3 months grace period after the expiry of medical device registration? So we have said that there will be a grace period, but not with the required, there's no specific required document for it, not to have the importation affected. So I hope I've answered your question. Maybe it was not clearly mentioned in the presentation, and now it is clear for you. Is there any plan to change the fees? The fees, if they are going to be changed, you will know about it because it has to go through the legal channels. Recall letter format during new registration, is it different in renewal? I don't think so. Engineer Abdul Latif, are you ready?
Yes, I will share now the slide.
Is the recall letter format in the new registration different from renewal? It's the same format, right?
Again, please.
The recall letter.
Yes.
It's the same format in the renewal and the new registration, right?
Yes. Same.
So please share your screen whenever you're ready.
All right, so the first point actually is that all required official documents should be signed and stamped by the issuer, and electronic signatures are accepted. But some applicants faced some difficulties in submitting a signed and stamped application form, since they don't have the electronic signature or stamp, so they sign it actually physically and then scan it and then submit it to NHRA. But we need it to be in a searchable format. So as a result, we have introduced an alternative solution where in case the electronic signature is not feasible, the applicant can provide an official letter signed and stamped clearly stating the date of application and that the information provided is genuine and not falsified. So I gave also an example that, for example, you can write in the letter that the application submitted on 26th of July 2021 is genuine and not falsified, and this letter can actually be submitted as a scan, where it will include the stamp and signature physically. But you need to mention the document as well.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go back to the questions regarding free sale certificate. It is required to provide free sale certificate from the country of origin and reference country based on the existing guidelines. I think they're talking about classification maybe. However, in the presentation, it is mentioned country of origin or reference country.
Yes. No, it's a country of origin or a reference country.
Yeah, so maybe you're confused. In the classification, which will be after tomorrow, Ms. Sabika will be explaining the requirement. It is required for the classification purposes to have the country of origin and a reference country for fast track classification. But in registration, it is clearly mentioned or. So which one of them doesn't matter. Since the medical device registration is postponed till 2026, I'm not sure from where you heard this information. We did not
Yes,
postpone
they
it.
misunderstood the point.
The deadline by 2026, all medical devices must be registered. And I will be highlighting this in the, after tomorrow, inshallah, the enforcement of the regulation, because we had another question about enforcement. So it will be on the 4th date of this webinar. Should we mention the list of accessories, consumables of the product being registered at the time of submission of the file?
No.
No, currently we're registering the medical device itself. For intended use, for dental tools, can we categorize as 1 extraction, 2 reconstruction, 3 general use? So say, for example, all forceps can be bundled under 1 intended use, which is extraction. Maybe people are getting confused with other countries' bundling method. There is a very useful chart that is available on our guideline where you can ask questions and jump to the next step. If still it is not clear for you, you can always email us. We can set a meeting with you and explain to you if your case is like repetitive for many of your products. You have a huge amount of products to be registered. We can give you this kind of help. Engineer Abdul, if you want to elaborate more about this, or should I move to the next?
Yeah, you can.
Can we provide an actual photo of the label instead of artwork?
Yeah, so you mean it's the same artwork, but you will take it using a camera? It's okay, no problem. But it needs to be clear.
You can see all angles.
Yes, exactly.
If renewal time is approached and there is a change that require variation, can we submit only renewal requirements and highlight changes on separate letter?
It will be both together, you mean renewal and variation? Yes, you will need to provide both requirements for the renewal and the variation.
Okay. Now there is one comment. I'll just give you a break from the questions about the documents. Some people are getting confused. You can always go back to the checklist. You can always go back to the registration form. It is clearly mentioned there what are the requirements. But if after going back to all of this, you still need clarification, we're always here to support you to clarify any doubts to you. Just drop us an email asking for a meeting. We will explain to you whatever is not clear. And those presentations that we're doing in this event will be available for you to go through it over and over. So take it step by step. The regulation we're implementing is similar to many other countries, and we've simplified it as much as possible to help you register within the time frame. I think we're out of time, so I'll just take one last question, if that's okay. Will the MDR quality certificate be considered for registration, since new product sites are now being regulated under the MDR, not the MDD? Tomorrow, Engineer Abdullah Dosari will be covering this point. So please, many of your questions actually will be covered in the coming sessions. But Engineer Abdullah, do you want to answer this question? Do you want to elaborate more? Yes,
it will be accepted, but for more details, Engineer Abdullah.
Stay tuned for tomorrow's presentation. I knew that we will have a lot of questions. I hope we answer all of them. If not, please drop us an email. And on the last day, if we have enough time, we will open the floor for more questions about the entire modules if we have enough time and there are no questions related to the last module. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow, inshallah, at 3 o'clock, Bahrain time. Ma as-salama.